What is up, guys? A few days ago on Twitter, I saw a tier list of the English-speaking casters on Clash of Clans and thought, hey, why not? Let's have a go. So we line them up. You can see them across the bottom, and you'll notice it's only people that have done something this year on Clash of Clans. Not going to go back into history. Would be too hard to compare. But yeah, it gives you some idea of what we're looking at. And I want to tell you straight away, the criteria here is if I am the big chief at Supercell, if I'm sat there in the office deciding who is going to cast the biggest events on Clash, the qualifiers, the World Championships, and of course the finals themselves, this is the tier list that I will be using as my guideline. And I will point out here, there are a few people I prefer to watch myself, if you get what I mean, but for this tier list, it is just about what I would be looking at as a business. I'm going to kick off with me, just to give you some idea of where we're putting things on the scale, and I will try and be as honest as possible, maybe a little bit critical as well. I hope everybody can handle it. This is not Supercell, this is real, this is, things do get critically challenged here, so let's see what we can do. So me. Now, if I was doing this 5 years ago, I think I could have made it to A tier. I do think that. I feel that I wasn't bad at my peak. However, everything that happened, particularly obviously 3.5 years ago when we got the stupid ban from the Creator Club, and my confidence dropped, and I don't ever really think I recovered, and so yeah, straight down to a B. Since then, the simple truth of it is, most of the people on at the bottom of the screen there have got better, and I haven't, and that's the top and bottom of it. So yes, maybe at my peak, I was up in an A. For a while, I was probably in a B as well, but I feel that obviously with everything that's happened, got to be honest and put myself in that C tier. And that says a lot about what kind of people we're looking at here and how much higher they will be. So yeah, we've got that start, we've got that guideline. Let's move on straight over to Mr. Toast himself. Now, I will say, when I saw this tweet and decided to do this video, I hadn't seen that he was part of World Championship qualifying this weekend. So thank goodness. It's 3-4 years overdue. It's a long time overdue. Again, Lex doesn't have too many friends at Supercell, and it shows, unfortunately. But he's finally got his shot. Lex is A tier, without a doubt. He's one of the only casters on this list that's actually active day to day in the esports scene, and he's brilliant. What makes him brilliant is that when you've got me, Eric, Carbon, even Itzu, you've got and him obviously, there's a lot of male casters with quite similar traits, and what Lex does really well is he puts his own personality on it. He's got a great look, obviously, on stream, shamelessly uses his pets and children to promote himself, which is great. But no, more than that, he's a really good caster, obviously a pro player. He maybe should have gone to Worlds, depending on how you look at that incident 2 years ago. But yeah, I mean, he's got the experience, he's got the knowledge. He's a great, male caster, as the group of them are. But the fact that he's just got that bit of extra personality, like I said, A tier, and who knows, maybe with a couple more opportunities, could go right up to S tier. Again, I said I'd be critical on everybody. If I was going to sort of go at him just a little bit, he does need to tweak the language a little bit just for Supercell. I know it's frustrating, and I do think that he's been really unfairly held back, but he knows himself. He has to tweak it just a little bit if he is gonna keep that role. But yeah, great to see him involved in Worlds, and he's our first on the A tier. Now, this next one is a tough one because obviously, for anyone that doesn't know, Erikuh has barely been around this year. She was obviously doing some great work. Again, we all know what happened. I'm trying to keep the drama out of this video. I realise that it's a part of some things, and it's certainly a thing with Erikuh. She was smashing it when she was active on Clash, and I mean, she was probably B tier at that point, and I think the potential was to go even higher. She had a genuine passion for it, and you can tell when you're listening to casters who's doing it for the money, for the views or whatever, and who's doing it because they actually love the esports, and Erikuh was definitely one of them. I'm going to have to put her in C though, just because obviously she hasn't been around for the last 6 months, maybe not entirely her choice, but still. Again, irrelevance is important, and obviously not casting a single war in 6 months marks her down, and it will mark some of the others down as well, I promise you, including me. But I do feel with Erikuh, it's a real shame. Again, she's got a good look about her, and she could have gone further. I feel that just experience, just more cast, more streaming, and of course those opportunities to stream alongside other people. I feel like with Erikuh, it's what might have been. So yeah, sucks a little bit, but yeah, can't put her too high on the list. She never actually got to show what she could really do. Moving on next, Mr. Clash Bashing. Now, this is an interesting one because obviously he doesn't do the day-to-day Clash of Clans. And again, I'm going to be as critical as I like on this video. He could and should. He doesn't need to put it onto YouTube. Doesn't need to affect his other content. He could just do it on Twitch or any other platform for that matter, or a second channel on YouTube. There's plenty of opportunities, but he chooses not to. He focuses on the other side of Clash. So naturally, I'll tell you in advance, he's not going to be right up there in the very highest tiers. Because obviously they are reserved. That being said, when you look at the work that he did, particularly with Eric in the North American ESL, he's brilliant. He really finds that combination of being able to give the extra energy, that extra hype, that love of all sides of Clash of Clans, but with the focus on the war. He nails it. It was great to see him involved in the World Championship lineups a couple of times now. He just hasn't had a consistent run in there, but he does some good work. However, you guys know I'm always going to favour the people that are most active in the community, that are doing it day to day. When you're doing it day to day, you learn more about the meta, about the teams, about the players, and it does elevate you. It allows you to cast at a higher level. So Mr. Bash will be my first B tier. B for Bash. It's so clever. It's genius. However, like I said, I know he could go higher if he put more focus into the esports scene. Let's move on. Now, again, avoiding drama, but obviously it's rough here with Eric. We all know the situation. Let's just talk about this strictly from a casting point of view. Now, when Eric first came into the scene, he was extremely knowledgeable, very much a good player, maybe not quite a pro player, but a good player. And he used his analysis techniques. You could see it on his early videos and even his early streams. However, he wasn't the most energetic. Then he went the other way. He injected the energy and possibly went a little bit too far at times where it maybe went OTT. But over time, he's managed to find that balance. And boy, has he nailed it. He's one of the most active, or was. It still is, technically. Still is one of the most active, doing the day-to-day. He knows the teams, he knows the players, he knows the meta, he knows the strategies. He literally knows everything. And quite simply, he is the line to aim for. Everybody else in this group, everybody else past and present or future in Clash of Clans is aiming to be as good as Eric. Is he perfect? Possibly not. You know what I mean? There's always room for improvement, for sure. But yeah, he's our first S tier. And quite simply, if I'm Supercell and I'm making a World Championship lineup, bang, he's straight in there. There's no debating about it. And again, part of that is his activity in the community and gives him an edge over other talented casters. So yeah, S tier for him. Now, this next one, this is an interesting one. And I will say straight away, on a personal level, I actually really enjoy watching it. So I enjoy his streams, I enjoy his analysis, I enjoy his thought process. Don't always agree with him, but I do enjoy the way he breaks things down. And obviously, when he was more active in the community, he was doing tremendous things. When I say in the community, I mean the esports community. I realise he's super active on the game, but he does do a little bit less in the war scene now, kind of only really showing up, for the paid cast, the world cast, that kind of stuff. I also, I hate saying this, but if this was a German tier list, it's straight away into S tier. I mean, it's a no-brainer. He's absolutely brilliant. But it is that little bit harder in your second language, both with the energy and with the analysis. When you think of something, so for example, you go and walk into something in your house now, stub your toe, you'll swear in your own language. It's your first language. It's how people are programmed. Your brain thinks in your first language. You've got to be exceptional at languages to get to the point where you've got two languages swimming around in your head. So again, it's harsh. Now, it's tough because particularly with his personal interest in the technical side of the game, and he's used to be a pro player. Obviously, and I say pro player, I mean an exceptional pro player as well. And we're talking about one of the best ever in his peak. He was brilliant. So he does bring a unique insight to this. Oh, it's a tough one. If he was more active, I could put him into the A for sure. Oh, this is a tough one. It's somewhere between B and A. I'll nudge badge down. Does that help? I don't know. I don't know, but yeah, I'm a big fan of his work. But when you've got so many talented English-speaking casters, you just sit there and think, why not have Itzu cast with noobs in German and smash that German thing? Because obviously noobs are doing great work as well. It's a weird one to me. But yeah, so we've got Itzu in there. Now then, next up, Suziegaming, the most active Clash of Clans content creator on Clash of Clans for the war scene. So you know immediately she's going to get a decent spot on this list. Her knowledge of the teams, the meta, the attacks, the players, it's actually above Eric. It's above anybody out there because she's there every day doing as many wars as possible. I'm always critical on this. You've noticed I've always put I've done both sides. I think my one criticism maybe of Suzie would be that sometimes on the very long streams, does it always benefit her? She's so keen to do more wars for the community. Sometimes when she's doing those 4, 5, 6 hour streams, is it hard to keep the quality at the very highest? Maybe it is. When she was casting, she had a couple of opportunities live in Poland, but also some of the casts with ESL, some of the casts with Supercell as well, and some of the other events like Global Clash Cup, things of that nature. And she's always smashed it. She brings a slightly different energy to pretty much everybody else on this list. I think that really adds to what the casts are doing. Now, people are going to be like, Adam, you marked Itzu down based on language. Are you going to do the same for Suzie? It's a fair point, but all of Suzie's Clash is in English. It is slightly different. I do get where people are going to go with this. Like, how can I say one thing about German, but a different thing about Slovak? But again, Itzu is more comfortable in German, whereas Suzie, to the best of my knowledge, has never cast in Slovak. So it is a slightly different comparison. Nevertheless, that activity, that energy, that genuine love of Clash Esports, A tier, without a doubt. Let's keep moving on. We're up to Coco. Now, I wasn't sure whether to put Coco on here. Last year, she was doing quite a lot for Clash Esports. Clearly this year, I presume she's working or something. She's a lot less active now and isn't doing as much with the war scene. She has a great look. Obviously very confident, very charming on stream. It's got everything. The setup is exactly how she would want it to be. But not being a pro player and not having that sort of extensive experience of casting Clash Esports has never really got into it. And I don't think she'll be too upset with this because, like I said, I do think she's focusing on other sides of the game right now. So yeah, we're going to put that one in a D tier. I will say that if she really focused on wars, was sort of as active as Suzie, putting in the work rate of Eric, Lex and Suzie, she could easily go up. She's got the fundamentals to get there. Just needs that war knowledge, needs that genuine love of Clash Esports. But yeah, I feel a bit bad. I don't know if I should have put her on this list or not, or left her out. I've not put Galadon on here, for example. So yeah, I don't know on that one. But yeah, Coco could do anything she wanted, but right now isn't that active on Clash, and it shows. Next up, we go over to Mr. Judo Sloth. This guy, YouTube sensation. That counts for nothing on this tier list, I'll tell you in advance. It is great that he can, just his name puts it out there, puts esports out there to more people, to more viewers, for sure. That you can't argue with that. But ultimately, I'm trying to pick the best casting team that I can. Now, if you watch any cast that Judo's in, very rarely would you say that he was the best caster on there. However, if you watch any war that Judo casts, so often you will say that his partnership was the best. And this is something that Judo gets that a lot of other people don't. It's not about how good the individual is. You always cast in a war, at least with another person. The partnership is what matters. Does Judo bring the best out of Eric, out of Itzu, out of Carbon? Yes, he does. He really does know how to get the best out of people. And I can say this because I've worked with him. I've worked with nearly everybody on this list one way or another, and it's the easiest thing ever working with Judo. He makes you a better caster. And again, that might not always show to a viewer, but I promise you, from the inside, there's no better. Now, again, I can't put him any higher because he isn't as active in esports, but at the same time, he's an A tier, and he's going to make all your other A tiers and S tiers even better. He gets it, and not many do. Now, moving on. Now, this next one's an interesting one as well, because again, he's not active in Clash of Clans. He only, turns up for the paid events for what Supercell want him to, and he never has been. And also, it's like, am I doing a Clash of Clans caster list here, or am I trying to hook in other things? if this was a stage host or a desk host tier list, this guy's number one. Like, let's not hide from it. The guy's an absolute machine. But this is a Clash of Clans caster list, and so obviously people are thinking, well, I've got to put him down pretty much, with Coco, similar logic. However, even without the Clash of Clans knowledge, there's something special about him, like his professionalism, his talent. Bear in mind, he's a full-time caster. He casts for other games as well. So he always, when he's casting Clash of Clans, it always benefits the other casters as well. They can all learn from him, pick up from him, improve because of him. Again, like I said, interviews, desk hosting, stage hosting, anything like that, Woody, league of his own. He's absolutely brilliant. But this is purely for casting wars. I can't put him any higher than that. I will say, when he got involved, I thought one of two things was going to happen. Either A, he would get more involved in Clash of Clans. He hasn't, because obviously he's doing his other games as well. I get that. Or B, it would be a short-term thing where his experience would help the, like, Carbon, and I think Eric was just getting involved, Judo at that point. And then eventually he would kind of be phased out, to be blunt about it, because as you can see, we've got 12 people on this list. I've only got 4 or 5 casting spots. So yeah, but it never happened. And again, a little bit of a surprise there. Again, on any lineup, I want to see Woody as the linchpin, the pivot, but I don't want to see him casting wars. I'll admit it. I think there's just so much talent within Clash of Clans that his role is not the best for this. Just wanted to give a couple of shout-outs as well. I said I wouldn't go into the past, but I will throw a couple of just sort of random ideas out here. First of all, Powerbang. Man, if this guy was still involved in Clash of Clans Esports, and he had the same passion that he's always had for this kind of thing, he's S tier. He really is. He just competitive, exciting, energy. I mean, he set the standards that a lot of these casters are pushing towards, and still does on other games. So yeah, PB would be S tier. I'm absolutely sure of it. Slightly different one, Eclipse. Now, don't get me wrong, even though I'm probably not quite as family friendly as everybody else, this guy takes it to a different level. He really does. He's never going to be involved, and never would have been involved in any sort of Supercell cast, but surprisingly good at warcasting. If you ever watch some of his old stuff back, he knows those attacks better than most, and if he ever could have found a way to get it in line with his personality, man, he could have done some interesting stuff. Just a random shout out there. And finally, Kenny Joe. He is, I think, and I'd have to do some science on this, but I think he might now be the second biggest growing YouTuber on Clash of Clans, something like that. Like, obviously he's not as big as Galdon in channel size, but in terms of average views and growth and everything else, Kenny Joe is right up there. What a lot of people don't know is he actually started in the war scene years and years ago, back in the CWL days. He used to cover a couple of wars, and that was his main focus. It was only later that he shifted over to what his awesome YouTube channel is doing now. Could he have done something? Could he have added to the Clash Esports scene? He's tinkered a few times, and he's always follows it. I'll tell you now, he knows what's going on. He keeps his eye on it. He enjoys it. Could he have had a shot? Could he have been involved in some way? Maybe. Right, let's get back to it. We've got a couple more to finish off this list. Eve Maxi. Now, again, this is interesting because you know that I've put quite a few of these guys up top based on their activity, how hard they work in Clash of Clans. For anyone that doesn't know, Maxi has a very successful full-time job, and I've even said to him directly, could you quit it and do more Clash of Clans? He said no. So he chose life over Clash of Clans. And because of that, I mean, his activity within Clash for 2, maybe 3 years now has been quite low, and that is going to impact where I put him on this list. Also, again, a German. Now, why are all these Germans involved? Why do we not see Spanish, Portuguese, Italians and French? Why are they not all over this list as well? And the simple reason is because the community manager that decides a lot of this has very close links with the German community. And that's why Eve Cal, maybe I should have put Eve Cal on here. He has done something this year. But again, I mean, he's so inactive and obviously so out of Clash of Clans. I can't really put him on here despite the fact that I actually quite like him. I like what he does. But yeah, I didn't put Cal on here. But you can see the only people we have outside the English community, in the English community, is the Germans. But that is just the Supercell link sort of coming into play, that special treatment. We're not going to go into it, but it is a factor here. Now, that being said, Maxi, super talented. And honestly, I'm looking at this list. For natural talent, he might be number one on here. He's got a good look, he's charming, he's charismatic, pro player, so he knows the ins and outs. Even now he's quite removed in terms of, it's been a while since he's been a pro player. He still gets it, he still understands it, and he can share it. If he was more active in the community, I could easily put him higher, for sure. If he was, if he was more involved, streaming any wars, anything like that. And genuinely, with Maxi, I think more than anybody else on this one, if he wanted to, if he made this his full-time career, he'd be S tier. There's nothing he can't do. I was saying that Woody, best stage and desk host we've ever had. Could Maxi have gone into that a little bit? Shout out Darian as well. He did a really good job last year. Slightly off topic, but his little sort of stage hosting was very good last year. Surprised us all with that late illness to Woody. But yeah, Darian nailed it. But again, could Maxi be involved in something like that? However, strictly for casting Clash of Clans wars, at the present, I've got him in the B tier, and that is, again, just because he hasn't been in Clash for so long. I would rather, you'll notice that these people higher up are more active. That's not a coincidence. You know me, I'm all about those people that are putting it in day after day, because they do know that little bit more. It is that little bit more natural to them. And that brings us to our finale, a Carbonfin. Where do we put Carbon on this list? Now, for anyone that doesn't know, Itzu, Judo, Carbon, all used to do more on the war scene. And now, obviously, have focused their channels more onto other sides of the game, which, for sure, it's going to affect him. It's going to affect his market on here. But he's extremely professional, does a fantastic job. And again, particularly when that Creative Masters series is live, man, he's in a league of his own. However, that Creative Masters season isn't live, so we've got him into the A tier here. Still doing brilliant work, still an asset to any cast he's involved with. If I was going to be critical, and I think I've been critical on everybody on here, sometimes I feel that he's doing things that Supercell want him to do, and if I could actually just have Carbon without Supercell, like as in him cast it by himself, again, could be right back up in that S tier. Like, he's really, really good at what he does, really professional, really hard-working. Yeah, not much more to say about that one. But yeah, that would be my tier list. And obviously then it makes it quite easy for World Championships. Generally, you want about 5 casters. I've got 5 in the S and A tier. Boom, job done. I've set it up already. Now, for those thinking, what about Itzu? Itzu, Maxi, Cal, and Noobs. You've got 4 incredible German casters. You could do something amazing with that German lineup. Again, shout out to the Spanish people like Soccer Shion style, Zolo, all absolutely smashing it over there. Again, you'd have this brilliant Spanish cast of Portuguese with Bruno and Marino, Italians, French. I'm not going to name everybody. This video is going to be 25 hours long. But no, you can see my point here. But yeah, that would be the 5. Get Woody in there as the stage desk host, connecting all those 5 dots. And boom, you've got it. You've got the interviews as well and everything else. I want to just give a quick shout out. There are some smaller casters doing some good work on Clash of Clans. However, Clash of Clans is on a decline. Clash Esports is on a sharp decline. It's horrible to say, but it's just being real on this video. And so it's very hard for new content creators to grow. Some of them maybe do deserve a spot on this list. Maybe I should have analysed them, but because it's hard to grow, it is hard to give a fair opinion of where they should be on this one. Wiley Gaming springs to mind straight away. A couple of others as well. But yeah, I had to sort of make a criteria for how you would get onto this list. And I feel that we did it reasonably well. Again, the comments are yours. Have at me. Let me know what you're thinking. But yeah, that's the final list. Now, if anybody does screenshot it, please tell them to watch the video so they understand the reasonings, particularly, with regards to my love of the people that are the most active in the community, that are giving the most to the community. Because obviously those are the ones that are going to smash world championships. They're going to smash those biggest cats. And that is a factor. I'm going to tap out. Hope you enjoyed it. Look forward to your comments.